recently I ran into the challenge of a lot of my students were finishing with their clay projects. Had about half my class were finished with clay, and then the other half were really working hard to try to finish, and they were struggling because those were the kids that really didn't understand how to attach things, and they really needed me. So I had half my class that needed to start a new project, and half my class that needed me to be right there with them to make sure things were attached. The next project was a painting project, and they have never used this type of paint before in my classroom. So they needed to understand that acrylic paint doesn't wash out of clothing, how to get it out of the brush, a lot of little techniques that have never been dealt with before. So it's an introductory to those techniques. The concepts were not difficult, they just needed to know a lot of information. So what I did is I videotaped myself teaching those techniques. I showed where things were in the classroom on video. I did small little snippets of those videos, maybe a 5-minute video. And then when my students came in that next day, my clay kids sat in the back quarters where I could get to them by coming around the back. My kids who were working on painting watched the video first for about 5 minutes, got all of their stuff out and started to work. It was a beautiful thing. And then when they did need help, the questions that they asked me were way up here because they had watched it on the video. So they had to start this painting on their own. We had already started sketching it out, so they had some preliminary understanding of what we were doing. They just didn't know how to use the paint. By watching the video every day, I introduced one more idea every day in a 5-minute increment, and then they worked. I was able to get to those kids in the back. I could tell the kids in the back who were freaking out because they needed to do clay that you have me for the whole class period in 5 minutes. Let me get them started. The rest of the class started on a video, and then I was able to give them my undivided attention while everybody else was getting the information from the virtual me on here. Another thing that was happening is I had some kids who were even so far along on this that they finished. But I wanted them to step it up a little bit and add some really interesting painting techniques that show layering of colors. But what I did was I set up my laptop before those kids came in with the video on YouTube of me extending the project and stepping up kids who maybe were my higher level kids and my advanced painters who had maybe worked with acrylic before but had not worked with high level techniques. So in the last class that I just taught, I had three girls who wanted to know how to glaze with paint and do layers of paint. And it was nice because they all kind of finished at different times. So each kid listened to like a 2-minute video on glazing and then immediately started glazing right onto their piece. The question that I got was, what color do you think I should use when I add the glazing, not how do you glaze? So that question could be answered that quick, whereas how do you glaze could be answered in a 15-minute video or a 10-minute video or a 15-minute video or a 15-minute or 10-minute demonstration, which is different. It takes time to lock in with those kids. I could still walk around my room and work with kids, but it kept this constant stream of questioning that are low-level questions like, where's the paint? How do I wash out a brush? What should I do about getting some more water in my water container? Or, hey, where did you put my picture? All of that was answered by video. The questions I got were up here. So it was exciting to answer questions that were high-level questions, and those other questions drive me crazy anyway, so it really released my stress. So maybe you can see that in action. Can you hold that question until the end? Yep. Okay. So the plan is, if you are painting today, I need you up here watching. It's a real quick one. I'm going to cut it off. Actually, you're only going to watch part of this. Explains how to take the paint and make an edge, and how to use your brush. So I need you to really focus on that. As soon as you're done with that, then you can go over and get your paint and get started. I'll have your pictures out by that time. If you are doing clay, could you raise your hand? Anyone doing clay? Just need to see. You two gentlemen, could you move to that back table so I can work with you? Now I need you to look at me. For the bell. You caught me on tape being above average. Good job. Listen. Hey, look at me. There we go. Just get your clay pieces out. If you can't find them, I will help you in a minute. Let me get these guys going on the video. All right, if you can't see the video, you can slide closer. Don't talk during it, or we have to restart it.
I would say.
What'd you say? I didn't hear you. It's breaking. You need my help? It's emergency. You need my help?
No.
Okay, so these guys right here are still finishing up their clay projects, and they're really high quality, so they needed me to help with just a little bit of the detail today. They look like they're pretty good. Earlier when the class started, all of those guys, raise your hand, and you're going to scan around very slowly to show them. Raise your hand if you watched a video today.
I did.
Okay, hands down.
I did.
Someone tell me what the video was on. Okay, Brandon, tell us what the video was on.
It was about painting and blending colors.
Okay, so those guys watched a video on painting and blending colors while I helped these guys. And then the one up here, look up here. Austin is watching a video of me up there that he didn't get to watch the other day. So Austin's watching that one to kind of help him out with his color groups. So that's how it's working right now today. Thank you. So that I'm starting to get a different kind of look. Zane will have to get more voice play. So that they're not going to just all blend in together. When I get close to an edge, I push and drag with my brush. So I want to be careful. Sometimes kids do this and it makes it really fuzzy looking. I'm going to push and drag. And I do a lot of mixing right onto the paper because I don't want this all to be one color. I want it to kind of blend. And I think I want that just a little bit
Zane, I would get it out
lighter.
of that bag.
And that it helps me be able to kind of look. It doesn't have to be all one tone. It can be different tones.